For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the PopCulturists PlayStation Podcast. For 40 years of playing PlayStation and 10 plus years in that games meeting combined, I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation. 12. It's 12 years, not 10, 12. 12, Max.
However, this PlayStation conversation does happen every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, you can. Come and check out our socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and X. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturists. We can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening to us on podcast service, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Now, Max, I'm viral. Just a little bit.
I know. Well, while you tell the people about your viral nonsense, I'm going to go try and get my kid back to sleep.
No worries. So Max is on dad duties tonight, and little baby Ollie is having a bit of rough with the heat because it's quite hot here in Victoria at the moment. But yeah, let's talk about my viral. Is it COVID? Nah, it ain't COVID. At least not that I'm aware of. So this weekend on SmackDown on Saturday, which is yesterday for us here in Australia, big twistery-do at the end where Cody Rhodes appears to have relinquished his WrestleMania main event against Roman Reigns to allow The Rock to take on Roman at WrestleMania, presumably for the WWE Universal title. I made a tweet that was essentially along the lines of, that match between Cody and Roman is gonna happen, and what they are doing, I didn't quite word it this way, but what they're doing is they're doing the standard good guy battling their way of adversity to getting to the championship. We saw it with Becky Lynch, we saw it with Daniel Bryan, we saw it with Kofi Kingston. Like Kofi Kingston, as an example, had 2 different gauntlets that he had to run through just to get his WrestleMania title shot. So I posted that, what I thought was relatively standard take. I didn't expect too much of it, but I guess off the back of the love at the moment for Cody and the circumstance, I'm now currently sitting in a tweet that's 70-something thousand. Let's have a look. Where is it? It is currently 78,000 views, which is pretty insane. 824 likes. It's having some fun, which is cool. Quite like that. But yeah, it's been fun. So, because, I never had a tweet do anything of any consequence. And the hard part is, Max, it's not even something that we can utilize for what we do. We don't have a wrestling show anymore. We just do this. So, like, the engagement is great because, as the PopC is so personality-driven, like, the data that is our social media comes together as one. Because, like, what we talk about here on our personal socials affects here, and so on and so forth. I just completed a good media kit recently, and this would have really helped.
Yeah.
There's one yeah, it's all right.
Bothering himself.
That's all good. Some tweet would have... this would have added nice to the bump, but it's been interesting. So with a lot of these tweets, people respond with, snarky comments or, I'm just getting to be all sassy Malassie here because I really don't care. Like, I have no personal stake in whatever. It was just my pitch of this is standard storytelling. So, like, don't be surprised when they do standard storytelling things. Essentially saying, like, don't, everyone's freaking and panicking. It's like, no. Chill out. You don't need to shit the bed. It's fine. Just give it a little bit. But more information's coming out. It's looking like I'm totally wrong, and that's fine. So, but I've enjoyed being a little bit of a petty bitch in the comments, in the replies. But it's been a fun 24 hours, and so like any good bit of social media content, I have hit my irrelevance point in my 24 hours. I'm proud to say I did not take advantage of this small minor notoriety in any possible way, and I will just kind of like I'd say in this entire time I've done it, would just be as irrelevant as Forgotten Tomorrow as I ever was. The Reverend Puck, just nice to hear something positive about the WWE this week. Thanks, Vince. Yeah, I think that's another big part of the reasons that they have done this. So, letting you all know in advance, because of the WWE, there will not be a show coming out on the 26th of February, as I will be in Perth for a week. Because of the WWE Elimination Chamber, and because I'm not taking recording gear to Perth, we will have to skip a week essentially, which is a bit of a bummer, but it's just part of the things. And plus, with the 3-hour time delay and stuff, 3-hour time delay, it's gonna be a whole bitch. So probably not gonna do that. But anyway, what we can talk about is the games we've been playing. As Max is not back yet, I can't. Actually, no, I can. I take that back. I'm going to fuck that up. I'm going to talk about my weekend, because that's the best part of this show. So, is my kid's weekend. As many of you know, my son does not live with me. He lives with his mum. And I get to see him at least every fortnight, which is absolutely lovely. I also get to see him kind of whenever I want or wherever he wants. I'm very lucky about that relationship. So, it's our scheduled weekend, and today was 33 degrees. Yesterday was 36 or something around about there. Hot as fucking hell day. And thankfully my partner was like, we should go outside. And now, if she said that to me directly, I would have said, fuck no, I'm not going outside. It's too goddamn hot. What, are you insane? But thankfully she tricked me with let's go do these specific tasks. And I went, specific tasks, you say? Okay, we can achieve them. I could probably enjoy them. So we went to the beach. Went to Ocean Grove, which is a little beach town near here in Geelong. We didn't go to the beach because that shit was fucking full and crazy and busy. And no shade at all. And as someone who just gets sunburnt existing, it was probably not a good idea. And also, shout out to ADHD meds, just making get super sunburnt easy. But, hey Max, talking about my weekend.
Did I skip all the wrestling bullshit?
Yeah, you skipped all the wrestling stuff, I know. Yeah, I'm glad your kid didn't move at all in that entire time.
No, you know how when kids first discover that they have hands and they want to grab everything?
Oh, yeah.
But kids are also dumb.
Yes, kids are dumb.
So he likes to sleep with his dummy in, but he likes to hold on to the dummy and pull it out of his mouth and then can't work out how to put it back in.
Yeah, my kid used to do the same thing too.
But he flails like a fucking... So, man.
Yeah.
Ali's done now, so...
No.
We should be fine.
Very nice. But, so we went to the beach yesterday. But it wasn't quite the beach. It was this little, stream... what would you call that thing at Ocean Grove? It's like the waterway? Creek. It is kind of a piss creek, but it's quite shallow, and the sand's not too it's not rocky.
It's where the river runs into the.
Yeah, where the river runs into the ocean. So it was a lot calmer, which is great for young kids. So we went there and we built some sandcastles. We went to the water. My son fucking freaked out about the potential for crabs, and then the
creature's not there.
Yeah, the creature's not the venereal disease, and I'm not sure, or you don't call them venereal disease anymore. Yeah, so that was cool. That was fun. I didn't get sunburnt, which is the benefit of going to a river is that there's trees on the bankside, so I was able to not die. And then today we went mini golfing. So we went to a place out in Wellington, yeah. Went there, did 2 rounds of each. So there's 2 courses. Did the first, the mountain and the mill, whatever. So the normal one and a fancier one. Saying that though, both my son and I, 2 hole-in-ones, each of us. Should have seen his fucking face when he got that hole-in-one. His world was incredible. It was so good.
Same hole or?
No, so I got one on the first. There was one that was kind of like upstairs, and you had like two little entrance points, and it came back in. Did kind of look like a weenus. Yeah, James hit it, got a hole in one, and he's like, "Daddy, see if you can get one too." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll try." Hole in one. I was like, no fucking way. And then he got a hole in one on the 18th. So
nice.
He won out of the 2 rounds we did. He won the first. I won the second. And the rule was, if you won, you got an ice cream. Now, I'm a dickhead and didn't think that I was going to win, so I didn't bring my lactose pills. So I didn't get an ice cream, but James got his champion ice cream. Demolished that thing.
Could have icy polled.
Because when there's ice cream available, the answer is ice cream. But I couldn't do it, so I just went without.
But when the possibility of ice cream or shit my pants, I normally pick icy pole.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because the whole problem is I'd have the ice pole going, I wish I could have ice cream.
Yeah, well, just be more tolerant.
Yeah, it's true. I just need to be more considerate for lactose and its feelings. But no, look, I had a genuinely really, really good weekend. It was chill as fuck. Yeah, it was fun. It was simple. It was one of those cool weekends where you go, oh, life's pretty good. It's good shit. Yeah. Did you have that sort of weekend?
It was fun. I mowed my lawn, I cleaned the house, and then I helped Mum discover that she had some fucking ancient drachma that she found in her closet.
Ancient what?
Drachma, a Greek coin.
Well, there you go.
How much is this worth? And she kept sending me photos of like fucking $2 coin, special limited edition $2 coins.
Yeah.
Because she googled one and it's like, this is worth $5,000. I'm like, no, Mum, it's not, because yours doesn't have.
Because yours lived in a fucking cupboard.
Yours doesn't have the incorrect spelling on it. It's not missing any letters. It's not special. It's just a normal fucking coin that's been minted. You need the error coins for the money.
Oh, but we did also hang out. We kind of came over to your place and plugged some shit into your computer, installed some software, and then fucking left. Makes me sound like a good 90s hacker.
Good. It's just a bunch of fucking spyware.
Pretty much. So Max has got himself a set of the Adobe suite, got himself OBS. He's got, as I've got a lovely new capture card. Thank you to Ethan at Tag Mods for the very kind gift. He just had it in his warehouse, and I don't need this anymore. Here you go. And that means Max was able to get so that's the Elgato something X, the one that's there. And then you got this HD Pro 60 Pro or whatever, the internal one. So that means Max is going to dip his toe into some of the other content-y side of things in terms of the video, where normally it's kind of me that does mostly everything except for curating the news stock, which is you.
Literally everything.
Yeah. So Max is like, hey, like if we want this to do a bit more or do something else, like what, because we were discussing like what are things we could do. We talked, I think, a couple episodes about doing some shorts and maybe some Let's Plays or stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't have fucking the brain capacity these days. And Max is like, well, I have a brain. And I was like, that's true, he does. So yeah. he's gonna give it a burl and give it into the Let's Play game, and maybe like chop some of this show up into shorts if there's anything that's compelling enough to be short-studded. Potentially. I don't know how like TikTok and shorts work, because I just don't.
When DLC drops.
Oh yeah, it's just Max just recording. This is how you beat this boss or whatever, and
you just see me walk up, Kamehameha the boss, and walk out. It's like, it's that simple, guys. Like, it's not even hard.
I would love to see that actually. Hey, here's all my stats. This is what you knew. Boom. Check out the boss is dead now. It's gone. But yeah, so that was pretty exciting. Like, what are like. With that in mind, like, what are you wanting to sort of make? Because you said put your hand up, but it was like it was more of like not a reluctancy, but it was like, yeah, I'll give it a burl. But like, what would you want to do?
Well, I mean, it'll be stuff that I'm playing. Like, ideally, stuff to, I brought up the we were lucky enough, thanks to Ubisoft Australia, to get hands on with Prince of Persia really early. So just having like, doing one of those, here's the first 20 minutes, drop that at embargo.
Here's how to get through this puzzle.
Yeah, here's some tips and tricks of from a min-maxer.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll give it a bill. I'll see what happens. My artistic flair is almost non-existent, so we'll see what happens.
Should be interesting. Should be good. Was there anything else? Anything that's just hanging about?
Early this weekend, it was pretty chill.
Nice. But you did play some games, though, I assume.
Yeah.
What did you play?
So, well, as you alluded to earlier, I've still been chugging along with Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Yeah, so shout out to the team at 5-Star for providing us, out of nowhere, a review code for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. It was essentially, it came through last Thursday, and it was like, hey, you head into the long weekend, give this a bill. And I was like,
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. Why not? Appreciate it. Thanks, man. And we were playing some. We didn't really touch upon it over the weekend because I was playing. We're playing Tekken 8. I had a lot of fun with Tekken 8. But then came, like, Monday. I was like, oh, I'll give this a bill. Holy fuck, Max! What the hell is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth? What the fuck is it? Apart from awesome.
So it is amazing. So, and it's really hard to, because this is my first dip into the Yakuza Like a Dragon thing. So this is the 9th mainline title. So we're jumping in right at the deep end, where you play as Ichiban Kasuga, who's the protagonist of this game, and you start the game off and you're essentially a social care worker. You're an employment.
You work in employment services. So your job is to help people find careers, find jobs.
Yes. Your personal goal is to help ex-Yakuza get back into the workforce. Yeah. Seems like a good deal.
So one of the things they highlight within the world, now where this is reflective in the outside world is unsure. However, yeah, there's a thing called the Yakuza rule. So for 5 years after you leave the Yakuza, you can't really get a job, you can't really get a rent, a property, you can't get a phone plan, you get nothing. Yeah.
So yeah, he's trying to help out as a former member himself. He's trying to help out those in need. It's a fairly, valiant cause. It plays like it's a turn-based RPG, essentially, like for combat style, story-wise. It's very reminiscent of that. I'm getting very strong Persona vibes, especially in both the combat and the UI. The difference here is that this is telling a more adult story and a more grounded real-world story.
Ish. Ish.
Well, I mean,
there's a little bit later where there's some kind of weird shit happens.
But for the main part, the story itself, like, it's fairly much more so than Persona. I'm having an absolute blast with it. For the first, I'd say like 2 hours, I didn't know what game I was playing.
Yeah, so it's not really kind of spoilers, but the opening game is so you meet Kasuga, you get into this sort of scenario where you essentially have to do a dating sim for a hot minute, and it's like,
yeah, I'm trying to find what I sent to you,
and it's insane because they're like, oh cool, because like once again, both Max and I have never played a Like a Dragon or a Yakuza game previously, so we're like, oh, this could be interesting. We boot it up, and we're like, okay, well, it looks cool. Some character models look fantastic, some don't. That's fine. It's what these JRPGs tend to do. Okay, we're introducing some characters. There's a lot of cutscenes. Okay, but I like a good cutscene. It's weird. I don't know, the cadence feels weird, but it's really quite engaging. The characters are interesting. This guy has a helmet for a hairdo. That's kind of a choice. Okay, all right, let's see what this guy... Okay, this character likes this character. That's cool. He wants to take her on a date. Okay, are we going to do any Yakuza-ing yet? No? Okay, we're going to take her on this date. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So good.
It really is. It has made me want to check out the previous titles, which is good, because my understanding is they are all connected.
They are definitely all connected.
And then there's obviously the spin-off games of The Man Who Erased His Name and
Judgment.
Judgment and Judgment 2.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just been fun. Like, you know, despite the fact that the combat is that traditional turn-based RPG-ness,
But it's
they've
with like
changed
a
up.
free. You're not like locked in position like some turn-based games
Yeah.
are. There is
So
movement and the
it's not-
3D
it's not
space
quite-
is needed.
It's not quite tactical where you're set in a
Yeah.
grid and you can freely move around. There is essentially you get a short. You can take a couple of steps, and then depending on where you step, you can gain advantages over your opponents. Some attacks deal more damage the closer you are to them. Almost all attacks have a knockback effect. So if you knock back an enemy into another enemy, they'll both take damage. If you knock back an enemy into an ally, the ally will do like a combo attack.
Yep.
So you kind of use the small amount of movement given to you to try and get as much advantage as you can over your opponents. And then obviously there's the skill list, there's character classes, all of that fun stuff as you're playing through. You unlock all those stuff. A very traditional RPG like. It is a stats game. The more you grind, the stronger you become, the faster you become, all that fun stuff. But the story is compelling.
Yeah, but it's one of those circumstances where like things happen but nothing happens.
Yeah. So like I'm only probably about 6-7 hours in.
Yeah, I'm about there too.
So for context, I've just hit the point of the trailer where he's stranded naked on a beach.
Yeah, so I'm not. I'm at the beach, but I'm not there yet.
So that was hilarious. That was hilarious. But I'm having, like I said, having this being my first, soiree into this series. It's a very strong first impression of a series, and it's definitely made me want to check out more. So I'm having a blast with it. I'm gonna keep playing it. It's just great.
Yeah, so like for me, it's interesting because I'm not commonly a fan of JRPGs or anime or really it's I have appreciation for like Japanese companies and like anime as a thing and like JRPGs as a thing. I understand their value, but they've just never really been for me. And there have been some that have gotten through to me, like as much as I shit on them, the Persona franchise I enjoy, 5 I adored, 4 I really enjoyed. Breath of Fire I played a lot on PS1, obviously Harvest Moon, etc., like those very Japanese games. But there is something about Like a Dragon, and I think because it is the 9th game in the series, even if you don't know the characters like we didn't, there's something, because they have known these characters for so long, there's no ambiguity on who they are. They come in and they go, this is who I am, and you go, okay, cool. And the relationships feel genuine because they've been built on. There's none of those, oh man, isn't it great that we've been friends for 20 years and we've done all those things together? You know the things. And then they list them out in like the most exposition-y way possible. Where here, they allude to a lot of things happening. And because we know it's a game later in the series, that these are things that have happened in the games previously. So you go, okay, cool. And it kind of adds this believability. And I think the little features that little swan, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like the nuances, the little something you can't quite put your tongue on. Is, as you mentioned, it's grounded in a realistic world, but it also isn't. I would almost allude it to the same way that Dragon Ball Z lives in the real world, but sort of isn't. Like it's grounded in its principle. In that, well, I think Ichiban has a lot of Goku traits. Like that really unreasonable optimism, that kind of joyous, childlike nature in their voice. They're really nice and caring. But when you have, like, there is massive shit that happens in Dragon Ball Z. But like,
well, see, the issue is
when they go to cities that aren't like fucking the middle of nowhere where they punch each other, the world just feels real and lived in. That makes sense.
Yes and no. So the issue with that is he could be that through the entire nine games, and we just don't know because we haven't seen his character develop.
Yeah.
I thought you were alluding to. So he very early on in the game, you realize that because he's been on these quests before, they genuinely use the word quest. He has this personification of himself called the hero.
Yeah.
And that's also his character class.
Yeah.
Because of that, during certain battles and whatnot, the enemies transform into sometimes fantastical creatures.
What he thinks they should look like, yeah.
Because that's what he believes he is doing. He is the mighty hero come to save the weak, slay the evil. So it would be interesting to see his journey throughout the previous games, because I have a feeling that that's just who he is.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that takes it out of being a grounded...
But no, that's what I'm saying. And it feels grounded for that reason. Like, he's just a larger life character in the same way. Yeah, it's just something about... there's just something about how, like, he presents himself. It does have that lovely, joyous... energy. Oh, Paul James in the chat, who's also randomly fell in love with the Like a Dragon series, like us, off Infinite Wealth. He goes, fuck, I usually tune into this pod at 1.5 times speed. Catching you guys live for the pod is messing with my head. And which is insane, because I talk really fast already. So on 1.5, I must be like, bam, 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 bam. But damn. But yeah, there is something about it because, like, not really a spoiler, kind of is. Later on, you like, as you're leaving to go to Hawaii, you just have this moment with your pet that's like really absurd, and like it's when things are ground and you go, no, it isn't, because there's things like that happen. It's like this it's clearly because he has that hero mindset, as you said. It's in a grounded world, but he creates these fantastical elements, which kind of makes it. It almost feels like. Almost like Ted in that sense as well.
What's wrong with having the pet that he has?
Oh, I have no problem with the pet. I think the pet's fantastic. I brought it to Hawaii with me.
I don't know if the pet can get on the plane. Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
I can get on the plane, but, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
So I have a feeling that, like, the Yakuza series is a lot more serious, where the Like a Dragons have kind of got that little bit silly. Because, like, from coming into this, the only things I knew is I remember seeing a meme on Twitter where it was like a really intense emotional cutscene. Someone pressed the skip button, and then and then it comes into gameplay of them like fucking doing Dance Dance Revolution or some fucking bullshit. And I'm like, what is this game? And then you see that it's the same game that has this intense street fighting and this turn-based combat, but then you could be fishing or go to a karaoke bar or bike riding as all this fucking just silly chaos.
You know Infinite Wealth has base building, right? You can...
Not yet. What?
There's like a whole mini game attached to it where you build out a place.
Well, I haven't got there yet, and I'm gonna be pushing to it now.
It's been a lot of fun diving in.
So one of the things that we were discussing with Paul James, funny enough, is that they've not played it either, and we've fallen in love with it. And I know that Huzo, the head at player2.net.au, go check it out, where Paul works. They themselves have done a Yakuza playthrough semi-recently and wrote about their experience. So we're debating whether it's like something we do like, once a quarter, once a month, once every 2 months.
They are all very easily accessible these days.
There are a lot of them are on Game Pass. Sorry, most all of them are on Game Pass. Some of them have been PS Plus giveaways in the past. If we speak to the person that kindly gave us this one, I'm sure they can swing us something. But we're thinking about doing like essentially a little mini series. A
Yakuza through the ages.
Yeah.
There you go.
Whole
animal mode.
Like like a podcaster or something. I don't know. No.
What else? What else is on your list?
What do you mean?
Of things that you've been playing.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that we're transitioning away. Yakuza Like a Podcast. That's the fucking name. Don't anyone steal that. No one listens to the show anyway. Don't you fucking steal it.
It's clearly like a podcast, the man who forgot his line.
Oh,
Let's be real.
the man who forgot his intro for the 8th time in a row.
The man who lost his train of thought.
Yeah. I was going to make a joke about like a podcast being the collective group term for three white dudes.
Middle-aged white men.
Yeah, middle-aged white men. So Yakuza like a podcast, the three middle-aged white men. What else have I been playing? I've been playing White Cotter for 3. That's true. I have been playing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So thank you to the team over at Play On Australia for providing us the review code. So both Max and I did play this in the alpha. We talked about it a couple weeks ago when the NDA just went, yeah, well, fuck it, who cares, eh? So that was fun. So I myself I've put a good handful of hours into it yesterday and today. So the big question is, does it look better now that your name's not plastered all over the screen? One of the things that happens when you get early preview stuff, in order to prevent like illegal distribution, they will watermark your screen. It's happened before. We've done it a lot with EA, but the last couple of things with Play On and WB, it's like just my name. It says Ryan Betts in brackets, the PopC email, close bracket, like across the screen. And there are moments whenever there's black, you go, what the fuck am I supposed to be looking at? It gives everything this pixelated look just because there's shit in the way. So I can tell you that this game looks substantially better than my beta experience, alpha/beta experience, because it's cleaner to look at. So a lot of things. Let's set some premises up, right? So in the game, it exists within the Arkham verse. So we're talking about Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight. No one really talks about Arkham Origins for some reason. That's fine. I don't know whether this exists in this one or not, but it's continuation of that. It is made by Rocksteady, so the team that made the Arkham franchise. However, this is set in a time after all those where Brainiac has arrived. He has taken over the world. He has managed to manipulate a good hunk of the Justice League, except for a couple. And you, as the Suicide Squad, whether it be Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, or King Shark, taken in by Amanda Waller, become Task Force X. You've seen the movie, at least I hope the newer one, not the shittier further one, the previous one I should say, so you got that, and your job is to go in, infiltrate Metropolis, and kill the Justice League. That premise sounds fucking rad. Game's fine. Now, look, admittedly, as having played the alpha, like I have experienced this first part already, there is some extra things that weren't in the playable alpha as well, like just little world building things that just kind of cut out because it would have just dragged that experience on and not really felt it. Like there's a whole Batman experience space where you could essentially just go through and press buttons and it runs you through all of the lore heading into this game, particularly about Batman, which is fun. And then you go out into the world. So very similar to the weird decision to make Gotham Knights into a games as a service, presumably off the back of Avengers. This game also feels like that attempt of a games as a service or a live service game. And just like Gotham Knights, this game is worse for it. And it's a tough one, Max, because the game isn't like objectively bad. Like, it plays well, it looks well. I've not had any sort of technical problems. The story, when I'm experiencing it, is interesting enough for me. There are moments where at least where I'm up to, now granted I'm not finished the game yet. I know I'm aware of some things that happen later in the game that I already am not stoked about. And I do feel that, as the comment said earlier from Paul, more like a quote, kill your love of DC. And from what I've seen, it does seem to be that. And I really wonder why those decisions were made. But I've seen those clips without context. So I do hope that in the context of the larger game, I will be able to justified in my head. It's the same way with that finding Last of Us Part 2 spoilers without knowing the game or playing the game. You know, like the characters are interesting enough. Like they have seemed to really have I've really understood that the characters, the four of them need to feel like characters. They need to feel like they've got personality and that you want to play them. Now, are they all engaging? Not really, but there's at least an understanding of who they are as their individual characters. With Gotham Knights, I found that all the characters felt surface level appealing at best. Like they were all like little mannequins, and if you peeped under the surface, you go, huh? They were just shells of these characters that you're playing because of the nature of the game, for that game's a service style delivery. Where here, I find that because Deadshot, Harley, King Shark not so much, are kind of known characters that you can kind of get away with some of having to explain who they are, what they do, or why they do it. And I think, at least from my experience as an Australian, I don't need... You wouldn't have to explain the history of Captain Boomerang to me because like I know it anyway because I'm a comic talk. But just his Australianisms is just enough to make him an endearing character to me, because as we talked about it a couple weeks ago, they nail some of the vernacular, some of the cadence, the delivery of like that not quite stereotypical Paul Hogan 80s Australiana, but like somewhere in the middle that makes him feel really Australian. But when you start actually playing the game and you just roof hop and blow up people, and then you just go to another spot to do exactly that, and then you're like, hey, use a new mission. Oh, cool, it's a mission from the Penguin. Fuck yeah, what do? Go to a rooftop and kill a bunch of people and then come back. All right, cool. There's a new character. What have they got for me? Oh, okay, go to a rooftop, kill some waves, leave. That is feeling very, very quick. But it's the same problem that I had with Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights, I wanted to experience that story further, and I want to here as well. But when I'm playing Like a Dragon, and, you know, we've got like Helldivers coming next week, and we're about to get this really fucking intense month, is that enough to pull me through to see the end until those moments happen? Yes. I'm going to try, but it's hard. Now I'm playing a solo as well. Like, did we play it multiplayer at all, Max, in the alpha?
Yeah, we gave it a bell.
Yeah, I can't remember. Look, I say that. I mean that in terms of clearly playing it multiplayer didn't drastically change the experience enough to make me go, this is how you should play it. So why haven't you jumped on it this weekend? Or do you have any questions? A bit further questions?
No, I just haven't. My time this weekend was taken up with Like a Dragon and Tekken 8.
But yeah, as I said, it is one of those interesting middle grounds of, yeah, it's cool, and I like it. And once again, this is someone that adores the Arkham franchise. I'd say in most apart from my PlayStation-related collectibles, one of my biggest collections that I own are the Arkham figures. I have near everyone. I have everyone from Arkham Asylum, majority of them from Arkham City. Not a lot from Arkham Knight because they changed the design, so they stylistically didn't really match like the actual figure manufacture, not the character design. So I didn't really jump onto them because I found Arkham Asylum and Arkham City just so much better. So it hurts me that it doesn't work or isn't good, or it seems like a really weird decision of a couple of different kinds of games trying to be one, and it's that with that, you know, so I wouldn't say master of all trades because it's barely fucking good at any of them, but it's passable enough that the game is aggressively mediocre on balance. And it's really tough because like there's a bunch of great things, but the key thing for a game like this is that replayability. Yeah, it weirdly ain't there. So in the chat, Reverend Puck adds, the origins made by someone else, story is a bit weaker. Yeah, I agree with that. MGB, WB just does some weird things. They're making so many live service games, Back for Blood, Multiverses, Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, MK1, in a way. Like, calm down. I heard from some people that a major problem with the game is how the story seemed to It seems to like to change a lot of the story things from previous Arkham games. Yeah, at the moment, they've not really touched on a lot of it. It just kind of sets the background of it. But yeah, I imagine they're going to do quite a lot of story change because, you know, the premise is if you kill the Justice League, like, does the game want you to be successful? You know, like, you want to call it Suicide Squad kill the Justice League and you don't? It's a toughie. But look, the short answer is Warner Brothers saw money in like games of service. They saw Fortnite. They saw all these games when that's how we make money. How do we do it? I don't know. Just do what they do. But worse because their love is there. The passion isn't there.
Yeah.
But Max, you said you've been playing some Tekken 8. You want to talk about love and passion in a game being there and fucking feeling it. God damn, is Tekken 8 still a fantastic game.
So for the past week, I've been playing, as I mentioned last week, just the character stories.
Yeah.
I have now dived into the actual story mode of Tekken 8. I'm sitting on, I think, the back end of Chapter 5, start of Chapter 6. So this is essentially the story of Tekken 8. You're playing as Jin Kazama as Kazuya is once again trying to take over the world. And you as Jin, as his son, are trying to stop that from happening. Through the previous 7 games, Jin at one point was the bad guy. Now he seems to be the good guy. He's had to change his ways. Jin is not one of my favorite characters in the Tekken series, so I'm really not enjoying having to play as Jin constantly because I'm just not fucking good at Jin.
I'm okay at Jin.
At the start of the Iron Fist tournament, in about Chapter 4, you get to play as the other combatants.
Yeah. Which was fun because I got to, therefore you get to pick the bracket. Like they go, here's the bracket, you decide who wins because obviously you're going to play the one that wins. And I was like, ooh, who do I want to see as the finals? All right, let's go.
The spoiler alert, all the people at the top just happened to be the people that I picked because I preferred them. So like Steve won and
King won, Paul won.
No, King did not win. King got fucking trashed. Paul did win. Yoshimitsu won.
See, I went Brian because Brian and Yoshimitsu have this interesting, fun little like story beats together for whatever reason.
Yeah,
so.
they're both like bros with Boskonovich.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. So I'm playing through that. I'm really enjoying it. The cutscenes are amazing. The story so far is doing well. Now again, I haven't played a Tekken game since I think Tekken 4. So having that, I think we both talked about it when we first started playing it. They've got one of those, here's what you've missed, and you can kind of do a story recap. So it's playing out well. Again, I played a few more online matches. The online is still tight as I've yet to have a bad connection. I've had some bad fights, but that's due to player shitness, not my own, not a connection issue. But yeah, I'm having a blast. I don't think this is an overly long story, so I'll definitely have it done by the end of next week, and by recording it next week. But so far, again, the story is compelling enough to push me forward, even though I'm not enjoying playing the character that I am playing as. So it's been good.
So I have finished the campaign. I did enjoy it. I did it kind of over a couple of days, like just in the mornings before work and a little bit of my lunch break because I work from home, so super easy. And it was fine. Like, it's good. I enjoyed it. Like, not knowing not similar to Like a Dragon, that it goes, hey, these are all these characters that exist in their world. You understand that they're important and some of them know each other, and they allude to, like, okay, these people feel more comfortable around each other, therefore they've got these relationships, or, as you mentioned, those little transitional moments. You understand that these two characters have a story somewhere. And that kind of good. So it allows you to sort of rip apart a lot of that sort of exposition. And here it's like, a lot of it is about Jin battling with that devil form of himself. So even if you've never played a Tekken game before in your life, everybody knows that Tekken iconography of him with the big devil wings and the horns, right? So you can at least know that, okay, so that's him. This is his connection. Then they explain his relationship to Kazuya, and then Heihachi, who's one of the most identifiable characters within the franchise. And it makes it super easy, and then it kind of integrates everyone in. And it's a small detail, and I'm not the first person to mention it either, is that everyone speaks in their native language. So it's just this understanding that everyone can understand what's going on. So a French character is talking French, a Japanese character is talking Japanese, the bear talks in growls, and everyone just knows what it means. And that kind of makes it fun and interesting. But the other thing I really enjoy, and the exact reference I saw was this cool little meme, was, the Tekken 8 is... You think Fast and the Furious, in that it did start as one thing, which was street racing, where here it did start as the King of the Iron Fist tournament, and then they built all this other bullshit and nonsense around it. So the tournament's still there, it still takes place, it's still important, like the same way that cars are still important to Fast and the Furious, but here's all the other shit that goes with it. So, and as you mentioned, to go along with what you said before, like Jin is such a heavy part of this game. He's part of the main logo, like the Bandai Namco little footage is him and Kazuya punching each other. I think I played a lot more Kazuya back in Tekken 3 because there was like that Mishima style, which is a lot of the same skill set as Heihachi, and early Jin. Because he has the Mishima style. There's a moment when you're fighting Kazuya where you switch styles, and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah!" Wipe the fucking floor with it. And then we went back to his Kazuya style or whatever the fuck it was. And I went, "Oh." But yeah, no, it's fun. Like. It's good to sort of, really remember some of those little sequences that it's almost like I was playing back on my PS1. Like that muscle memory is allowed to exist in this game.
But yeah, no.
Those individual character stories, though, like, how are they comparative to your time with the main story? Are they as deep, as fleshed out?
Oh, no, they're very short. So essentially the way it works is you get opening cutscene, fight, end cutscene.
Oh.
There's a few mini ones sprinkled in between the fights, but generally speaking, it's cutscene, 4 fights.
You do the tournament, I think, yeah?
And depending on which character you play as.
Ah, okay. So I did Brian.
Yeah, so Brian takes part in the King of Iron Fist tournament in his character story, but if you play Yoshimitsu, you never go.
Even though he was in for us.
Yes, 100%. I also like the fact that Kuma, the bear, is the Oceanic tournament winner.
Which is insane, because we don't have bears like that here in the Oceanias.
No. And Tekken 3 had a kangaroo. Where's our fucking kangaroo?
Yeah, where's our fucking kangaroo, eh?
I can't think of his name. What was his name?
No idea. But yeah, no, it's still fucking fantastic. It's such a good game. Such a good game. All right, Max. Is there anything else?
It was Roger, and he had fucking boxing gloves on.
He did. Anything else you jumped on this week?
Not really.
Let me have a quick squiz at my PlayStation app.
League of Legends, Rocket League, all that.
League of Legends?
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's it. All right, let's get to the section called Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation. Now, Max, I'm going to jump into this one because you can have fun with the second one, then I can do the third one. So, Sony news: your PlayStation Plus Essentials games are out. Well, not out, but they're coming. They're announced
They'll be out
on Tuesday. So tomorrow, the time of release, you get your Foam Stars on your PS5, your PS4. You get your Roller Drome, which I'm sure was already a PS Plus game. That's coming to PS5 and PS4. I didn't like it. And Still Rising coming to PS5. I couldn't give a fuck about it this month at all. And that's fine, because not every month is for me.
I've played both Roller Drome and Still Rising already.
Yeah. And Foam Stars, you're getting all weeby excited.
Wet and weeby? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, speaking of weebiness, right? I had probably like one of my first genuinely weeby conversations this weekend. with Max, and I did see a little bit of pride in Max's eye as we were sitting across from one another, and I went, hey, so I'm playing Like a Dragon, and they keep referring to each other as, whatever did a Coon, whatever Chan, or whatever the fucking whatever. I was like, what the hell does this mean? And Max is like,
well, sit down and shut up.
Sit down and shut up and get your weave on, all right?
Yeah, cool. The joys of what is it? Suffix honorifics.
Yeah. And then it was one of those ones like, this means that. This is like, so how would we talk to each other? He goes, you just call me by my name, you dickhead. I'm like,
just talk normally.
Are you Max Chan? Are you Max Coon? And he's like, no, I'm Max Senpai. Like, I know what that means. And you're like, yeah, I'm the master. Yeah. But Foam Stars, is it getting you moist, pun intended?
I mean, I'll try it. It's free. There's no harm in it. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
True.
I fall in love with it and play it forever.
Hey.
Hey.
What a bad thing.
I'm surprised you didn't want this story, Ryan.
Well, because I know you haven't watched the State of Play in full, so that was part of it.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some portable rumors.
Yes.
So following the PlayStation Vita's relatively poor commercial performance, it's never really seemed likely that Sony would return to the handheld space. And then they brought out the Portal. Crazy. Mm-hmm. Known hardware leaker Moore's Law is Dead, MLID, says otherwise, however. A recent video from the YouTuber includes a segment on new PlayStation handheld nicknamed the Vita 2. Unlike the remote play-only PlayStation Portal, this supposed new device would be a dedicated portable console that can play games natively. The report states the machine is in, quote, high-level design phase, meaning it's in very early state, apparently, quote, at least 2 years out, and technically not greenlit for a launch yet. The handheld will reportedly make use of a custom APU from AMD, and in a nutshell would be capable of running digital PlayStation 4 games natively. As for PS5 software, MLID says developers tell him it's, quote, plausible that games could be updated on a case-by-case basis to support the handheld with pro-like patches. This would mean not all PlayStation 5 games would run on the, quote, Vita 2, just the one developers adjust the support for it. By the sound of it, the handheld wouldn't have its own suite of games. It would essentially just be a portable PlayStation 5/PlayStation 4. It sort of sounds like the Steam Deck, but for PlayStation.
I was going to say, this does feel like it's big Steam Deck energy.
Yeah. MLID concludes by saying that he can, quote, 100% confirm a new PlayStation handheld is in very early development.
See, look, I don't know shit, but I could tell you that. You know why? Because that's what an entire R&D department is there to do. They are there to build and create shit. Like, I guarantee they're working on a PS6 right now just because. Like, but it's guaranteed that version that they're building now won't be the one that comes out in X amount of years. It's what they're there to do. I imagine there's been a number of Vita 2s in the works. But I think the big difference here, Max, and why, as you mentioned, the Steam Deck equivalent, is we've come around to the idea of a handheld doesn't have to be as small as possible. Like a Vita is so tiny, a PSP is smaller, like a Game Boy, like a Game Boy Pocket or whatever, a DS, 3DS. But we're now with the world of Steam Decks, like, oh, we're okay with having like a Lynx Jaguar X size fucking thing.
I mean, the other thing is, for the most part, COVID's kind of over with. We're no longer locked down. People are going out again, and they need portable devices.
Yeah, when there's more jobs are demanding back at work, back in the office. Commuting is becoming a big thing again.
No.
So I guess the question, Max, is, the nature of your job. You don't really have a commute.
I don't.
Is portable gaming something that you need?
It's funny. So, in theory, I like the idea of the PlayStation Portable. I hate the fact that it's a streaming-only device.
Yeah.
If I could have like the equivalent of a Nintendo Switch, but I can download and install PlayStation games on it and take it with me, hell yeah. That's a more logical use case for me than praying I'm in a good internet section, making sure that I remember to leave my PlayStation on at home to actually access the when I can, I would prefer to have things locally than streamed.
Yeah.
So if that's what this is, sure. I'm more likely to have something like that than a streaming only device.
Yeah. And I would agree with that too. Like, I am keen for the Portal. The Portal is out. My interest in it is a couple of different reasons. I travel a lot, so not having to ship my PlayStation would be amazing. And like I'm not opposed. Like, I'm opposed to having a TV in bed in your bedroom, but I'm not opposed to like a portable console in bed, because sometimes you want to just play in bed. And the backbone is fine, but the thumbsticks are sucky. The ergonomics sucky. But like if I could use that DualSense with a screen, like, I would play in bed. Or, you know, my partner Phoebe, she's here, or, you know, she doesn't live here yet, but like, you know, in the interim, she's still here, and maybe she'll want to watch something while I'm playing a game, and I can go, oh, I'll just play on the Portal. You know, I don't really mind. Like, and if the latency is brilliant, because I'm sitting meters away from my console, and really, both you and I have the ideal Portal setup with fast internet. It's all cabled. The Wi-Fi there, the modem is pretty good. Like, it should work pretty flawlessly for us. So like for me, like, oh, you can watch your Time Team or whatever it is you're watching, your BBC docs, because you're a giant fucking nerd. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go be a nerd over here and play something like a Dragon on the Portal. But the entrance price for the Portal ain't there for me, because it's just, I don't have enough use for it. However, this idea of this Steam Deck PSP, I work from home. I don't have a commute. If it can essentially play a PS4, PS5 games, that's not going to be it for me either, because I'm always home. I'm never not home. Like, it would help going to the hotel once, you know, every month when I'm in Newcastle for a week. That would be lovely. But then again, if I can't play all PS4 games, it certainly can't play PS5 games. And as we're transitioning away from PS4 games to PS5 being the standard, I do wonder what that life would be. It's hard, because I would like to check it out. I would like to experience it. But if there's no proprietary games being made for it, what's its purpose? Yeah. Speaking of what's its purpose, it's a state of play. Now, Max, the state of play, there was Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Australian, Eastern, whatever, daylight savings, I think we're still in time. It was 45 minutes. I had to stop halfway through for a work meeting. The meeting was booked for 10. I would have got away with it. And then they moved it to 9:30. I'm like, damn it. So I watched semi-live. There is a live reactions. It is available on the YouTube as we speak. Max, without going to details of what you've seen just yet, have you watched it in full?
Not in full.
Okay. Had you, what you've seen, did you enjoy?
Yes. So I essentially went online and went to one of those, here is what was announced, here's all the trailers for what was announced, and I kind of cherry picked what I had an interest in to begin with, and what I didn't have an interest in, I just chose not to watch.
Nice. Now, Max, you did write it all in this doc here. However,
it's not in order.
Not in order, so I'm going to go through my little notes, because one of the things I miss is handwritten notes when I watch a conference.
Is attempting to reread your own notes.
Oh, that's the best part. And then if I'm unsure what it says, I will check your doc, because it's in legible text. So yeah, it kicked off with Helldivers 2, because as we know, the game is coming out February 8th. It was essentially just demonstrating the utter fucking chaos this game could be, but then also highlighting that there will be mechs after launch, which is pretty exciting. Max, are you still keen for this?
Yeah, up until like maybe a week ago, I didn't realize that they shifted it to a third-person game. I thought it was still a twin-stick shit, like the first one.
We've watched State of Plays previously, and we've talked about it.
This makes me more interested in it.
Yeah,
I must admit.
It does. It looks really, really fun, from like that silly Starship Troopers. But yeah, knowing that it's right around the corner, and it's pretty much the next like PlayStation Studios-ish game, because it's a second-party exclusive. You'd expect them to do something, even though they've not marketed that game in any other way. Good old Herman Holst comes out, and he's like, "How you doing? I'm Herman Holst." And we're like, "Yeah, that's nice, Herman." Then they showed Stellar Blade. So Stellar Blade is this fucking thing. It's this JRPG where the game the trailer itself was really more about a deeper dive in a story. Pardon me, explaining all the characters within it, a lot more of the combat and the enemy design. If I'm being honest, once again knowing that it's me and my very anti-weeb sentiment, there is nothing about this game that interests me at all. Like, it has all the things that I dislike in terms of a story that looks bullshit. The traditional anime voices where the women speak at like a really high infantilized register, and I can't stand it. It's got weird boob physics and bum physics. And for a character that clearly looks underage, is really, really bizarre. And that's just a lot of my deep issues and challenges with anime and JRPG culture. Max, however, this seems to be right up your alley.
Yeah, I'll take one for the team.
What was that?
I said I'll take one for the team. We'll play this.
Yeah. Oh, what a shame. So, did you check this one out? Or
Yeah.
are you kind of keeping yourself a little bit dark?
So obviously, we first saw it when it was announced, a year or 2 years ago, when it was still Project Eve, back when it wasn't a PlayStation exclusive. And then obviously since then, we now have the release date being the 26th of April, so it's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
It is now a PlayStation 5 exclusive game. It's cool. I like all that. I like the weeby nonsense. It seems like it's a one of those action adventure style games. So hopefully the combat's tight. Yeah, it looks fine. It's that bombastic, crazy, over the top nonsense that, if done well, can be okay, but if it's it can get tedious and grating if it's overused. So it will depend what it's like, and obviously we won't know until we play it. So
pretty much, yeah. Yeah. All right, beautiful. So next up was Sonic Shadow Generation. So Sonic Generations is a thing that already existed, but now it's got Shadow involved. My son is never going to know this game exists because I don't want to see it. But it looks like Sonic 3D, but with Shadow in it. Woohoo. I guess cashing in on Shadow coming to the Sonic movie, Sonic 3, back end of this year.
With Jim Carrey returning.
Yeah, that part was pretty cool. I like that part. Next up was Zenless Zone Zero. So it's made by the same guys that do Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail. Looks to be another gacha game. I looked at this and went, oh, what the fuck is this? I want to play this.
Yeah, I did the same thing. It's an urban gacha game. I'm like, no, thank you.
No, none about it was appealing to me at all. Speaking of not appealing to me at all, Foam Stars. Little showcase trailer for that. My favorite part, and this was, and I noticed it, and I forgot to mention it when I was watching this, when I was talking about it in the thing, but I was listening to Platinum Explosion, and a good friend of the show, Buddy Watson, was like, did you notice that the trailer was just like weapons, maps, skins? So it's just announcing things that should be in the game. It's not like cool bomb, it's just, we have the things. And it was really, I did kind of notice at the time. I was like, that's pretty fun.
They're just making the distinction that it's not paint, rollers,
bubbles. But that does come out on the 6th of this month. Next up was Dave the Diver, not an independent game apparently, is coming April 24th to PlayStation. It is currently available everywhere else, but for some reason wasn't here. From all accounts, this game is fucking sick, and I fear that this may be a really big Betson game. Apparently,
they also announced the Godzilla DLC that's coming in May.
Yeah, some good kaiju action, which is exciting. That's coming out in May. But apparently, there's little you run, you go fishing, but you take it back to your little sushi shop, and you get to sort of do some like farming, lifestyle management sim shit. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll just wait for it to come to PlayStation now. Next up, V Rising. Apparently, this is a like a vampire survival game. It's been out somewhere else.
It's on Game Pass.
On Game Pass.
As part of their early access nonsense, whatever it's called.
Yeah, the play early with Game Pass. It's not what it's called.
Yeah,
but
it's also on Steam in early access. Like it's available everywhere but here.
Then we went into kind of a little Konami section. We had a showcase of Silent Hill, the shortened message. So that we had seen this before a little bit in a previous, like the Silent Hill, it's their state of play showcasey thing, but we got a lot more information here. This was the one that's set in first person. It really sort of Resident Evil 7 energy, and it's free to play. And it's available today at the time of the show. So it is available now in your PlayStation Store. I downloaded it. I played about an hour of it. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was really, really dark themed. It's interestingly set in like the modern world with the idea of how the social pressures of the internet and those public expressions of success, etc., and expectation have impact the youth. It addresses a post-COVID world, which is interesting. But there is, some big trigger warnings around suicide, self-harm, and mental health challenges. So heads up if you want to check it out. It's interesting. Like it's more of a tonal piece. There's a lot of PT influence there as well. Which is the playable teaser of Silent Hills, which would have been the one that Kojima was going to make. However, it didn't happen. So jump out back if there's any of these other things you've watched, or was the only other thing you watched with the final one?
No, I watched the Dragon's Dogma stuff.
Yep. All right. Cool.
Spoiler alert.
That's fine. That's all right.
I watched most of the Rise of the Ronin stuff.
So next up, we saw Silent Hill 2 Remake. We saw a bit more of the game. We saw some of the combat. So we also saw that the game is doing the third-person over-the-shoulder Resident Evil 2 style, which, for me, ain't a bad thing. Like, Resident Evil 2 had some of the fixed camera stuff of the first game, but it was very much the PS2's version of behind the shoulder, and it wasn't very good. And the combat was kind of asshole. So, if you can get me the feeling of the world of Silent Hill, which is what I found most appealing, but with the playability of Resident Evil, big thumbs up for me. So that has me excited. Next up was Judas, which is the game from Ken Levine's game, out of his studio since post BioShock. But motherfucker, does this feel like a BioShock game? Even down to the plasmids, like it looks fantastic. I'm really, really keen for it. Then we get into the PSVR 2 section, Metro Awakening VR. So if you want to experience the fucking depressing world of Metro,
I think it's supposed to be like an origin story.
Yeah, I think so. So I played a bit hunk of 20. What was the first one? 2033.
2042. I don't know.
Whatever the first Metro was.
I don't think I've ever played a Metro game.
Yeah.
If I just search Metro, I'm gonna get fucking trains.
Yeah, Bold Moose Trap.
Last Light?
No, another one before that.
2033.
Thank you. So I did play Metro 2033 back in the day, and it was fine. It does have that Euro jank to it, which is kind of interesting. But I did play Metro Exodus as well. That game is fucking beautiful, even on PlayStation, PS4 at the time. It was fantastic. But it was a bit of a hard, long slog. So this, at least, it looks like the world is going to be super interesting and fascinating, and look like a good game. Where the game that followed it, which was Legendary Tales, an action role-playing game, looked like fucking crap. It's a standard fantasy fighting game where it's like you have a sword and you can axe things and sword things. My favorite part was when he power bombs that skeleton through the table and then proceeds to just punch it in the face. And it makes me kind of want a wrestling VR game, if anything. Not really like I don't need a fantasy action RPG. Just give me power bomb simulator. I'm down with that. That'd be cool as shit. Did you check any of them out at all, Max?
Yeah, I watched the Legendary Tales trailer. Like it's,
it looks like a 90s TV series CG.
I kind of like it.
I'm gonna play it. It looks fucking silly, but
it's also a multiplayer game, so that's always fun. But it's like what it's like what people think that Dungeons and Dragons should look like.
yeah, because it's all the stereotypical beasts of like skeletons with shields and
yeah, that's so funny.
This is your time to shine, Max. You got 2 for 2 here. Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah, so Dragon's Dogma. I've been keen for Dragon's Dogma 2 for ages. So this is Capcom's. Is Capcom right? I'm not going crazy.
Yeah, it's their answer for.
It's their Monster Hunter RPG.
Yeah.
So they showed off a new class with some more gameplay of that class. So this is their big. Yeah, it's essentially Monster Hunter, but instead of having zoned areas, it's a big open world RPG. Their game, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, is currently free as part of the PlayStation Extras.
Yep.
I think the game did not age well, in my opinion. It is very dated these days. So I'm very keen for Dragon's Dogma 2. It ticks all my boxes. Big open world, RPG, character classes, farming in the good way, not bullshit farming.
Fuck
like
you.
real man's farming. XP.
I'm sorry. Farming the land is real man's farming. Not running around killing mobs of bullshit with your fucking sword, you nerd.
We farm for XP, not for wheat. Yeah, it still looks great. So yeah, super keen for that. Like it comes out back end of March, from memory.
Yeah, I have literally zero interest in it. It just didn't do it for me at all. But I went, Max would like this. That's cool. Next up was another PlayStation Studios title and from a second-party capacity, and that is Rise of the Ronin. Now, boy, God, did this look like Assassin's Creed Samurai. I put this game on my Metacritic draft list, and I kind of regret it. Like, it looks fine.
So this is the game
looks like a good Ninja, 7, right? 8.
Team Ninja that's doing this, right?
Yeah. So like it's one of those things where the combat looks kind of like Dark Souls-ish, but not really, but doesn't really indicate that it is or it isn't. So like it might get extra points because of that, but we also kind of, it's like if you took Neo and Ghost of Tsushima and made them like smooch and have a baby.
But you can fly.
And then you can like, you have a glider and then you can jump and then just a horse appears out of nowhere and you can land on a horse.
Yeah, you can.
That part rules.
You could grapple hook into a glider and then just land on a fucking horse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sick. Am I going to play it? If it comes my way, sure. Am I going to actively seek it out? Sure. Am I going to really care too much about it? Probably not. But I'm give it.
You'll actively seek it out because I'll want to play it.
Yeah, pretty much. And interestingly enough, so this was kind of rumored a couple of weeks ago, but it seems to be confirmed. So Until Dawn is getting itself an enhanced edition, like a remaster, and that is coming out this year. Sorry, we should specify that both Dragon's Dogma and Rise of Ronin are both coming out on the 22nd of March. Is that correct?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's fucking crazy.
Back end of March.
Yeah. So Until Dawn, it looks cleaner, sharper. I've never actually finished Until Dawn, and
Until Dawn was great.
What I played, I really, really enjoyed, but it's really tough for me to get through those episodic-y sort of games because it kind of breaks that hook for me personally. It is one of those things where I'm like, did it need a remaster? Probably not. But with the rumor mill of the movies coming out, and if they can get Hayden Pinter and the guy that played Freddie Mercury, what's his name? Rami Malek,
Rami-
like that would be huge. So it'd be fun to sort of play that game using those characters, then go to the movie and use those characters. And what's interesting is the team that's doing it is a lot of ex. What's the team's name that made it? The guys that do the House of Anthology. Shit. Supermassive. Thank you. So a lot of ex-Supermassive people are now working on this. So in a good way to sort of like Rising Moon was the studio. So it's kind of their first big like boom out there as this new studio, and it does kind of make it fun for them to sort of do a game they worked on X amount of years ago to show sort of what they can do now. But the big one, the huge one, the massive one, Death Stranding.
The announcement for Final Fantasy VII next week.
I didn't write that down.
Oh yeah, they announced a state of play next week for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because they're like, this is too good to fit with all this nonsense. It's gonna get its own state of play.
Yeah, because as they do, it's a big dealio. Like they're good friends with Old Square, so they want to do that. But the real big one, not this bullshit Final Fantasy one that Max was talking about. Death Stranding 2 was there. We know now it is coming 2025. It is Death Stranding 2 on the beach.
What a typing error on my behalf.
What'd you write?
Death Stranding 10 on the beach.
10? Oh, because it was a 10-minute long trailer. Okay, makes sense. So what we saw here was, as expected, utter batshit.
If we've learned anything from the past, what we saw is the end cutscene for the game.
Yeah, it's like towards the end of the game, so that's exciting.
Before the credits roll.
But it won't make any sense until we've done everything else. But our good old Norm's back, Norman Reedus, George Miller's in it. We get a little bit of information around like Al Fanning, but not like exactly who her character is. We hear a bit more about Lou. We see what Fragile's been up to. We see that she now works for a new company called Drawbridge. We're going outside of the US, trying to get people to connect to the Chiral network because now the Chiral network's established. Porters aren't really needed anymore.
Trying to find oil.
Yeah, they're trying to find oil for some reason. Higgs, which is Troy Baker's character's back, and he's looking like the Crow, and he has like a guitar fight battle with a robot that looks to be possessed by Lou, and he makes the guitar into an axe, and it's fucking awesome. And then the baby has a little Metal Gear Rex fly out of its face, and it's a whole fucking thing. And then it ends lovely with Norman Reedus, Sam Porter Bridges holding what is presumably Lou, and I fucking cried a little bit because I adore this game and I adore the relationship between Norman Reedus and Lou as that builds up across the game. And at some point there was a line of, were you the one that killed Lou? And I went, don't you fucking dare, game. Don't you fucking dare. And then when I heard that, I'm like, I know Max is going to be so fucking
It turns
shitty.
out the fucking Lou's a repatriate as well, and he's just like, I'm back, bitches.
Yeah. But yeah,
so after watching this, I fell down like a Reddit rabbit hole. And
oh yeah? What'd you find?
Was looking at all the like, did you catch these? Did you catch these? One of the friends of the show, Zell, who I play a lot of games, we've just got this thread going at the moment between us, like, oh, did you notice this? Did you notice this? Have you seen this? So he showed me a photo. In one of the cutscenes, Fragile is smoking a cigarette, and as she blows
These
the
little
smoke
fucking
out,
hands things.
there's fucking BTs in the smoke. There's little BTs figures inside the smoke. The guitar riff that Higgs is playing at the start is the theme that plays when you meet BB the first time. There's the obvious Crow iconography where he comes back from the dead for revenge, plays a wicked guitar solo on a roof, and there's all these things. And then obviously George Miller from director of Mad Max. It's just I'm just hoping that it's early 2025 and not late 2025.
Yeah.
but it'll come out when it comes out. I'm sure we'll see like a bajillion other trailers before.
It'll also make no sense.
That will, that will also make no sense. But yeah, I'm so keen. I re-downloaded the director's cut for Death Stranding and started playing it last night.
On the PC or the PlayStations? Because didn't we get a PC?
PlayStation.
Didn't we get a PC code for it? I swear we did.
No, I know we got a PlayStation code for it.
Well, there you go. Oh no, we did.
I have it. I have it on PC, but
okay, maybe that's right. Maybe that's where I'm getting them mixed up then.
I mean, I could be cool and play it on my iPhone.
Yeah. No, look, I'm unreasonably excited for this, and it was very cool. And the next thing that we talked about was also fucking almost made me more exciting. So Herman Holst is standing there next to Kojima, or Kojima-san, as he called him. I don't know what that means. That means they see each other as friends and acquaintances. Is that correct?
No, San's just Mister.
Fuck!
Sure.
Damn it! No, Kun is the one where they're friendly.
Yeah.
There you go. He just called him Mr. Kojima, so that's nice. And he mentioned that I'm coming up to my 40 years as a game developer, and I have this project that is coming up after Death Stranding 2 that'll essentially be a culmination of everything that I've done, and it's a return to the espionage action genre, which is the subheading that they gave to Metal Gear Rising, actually, I think. But the one for Metal Gear Solid was tactical espionage action. So the exciting thing here, Max...
is he's making wooden pulley liquid?
Could be. That would be awesome. But with the strong presence of Konami in this trailer, with the strong connection between Konami and PlayStation, and now Kojima and PlayStation have always worked well, but things are getting crazier as he's expanding his connection to working alongside Columbia Pictures as the drone shot pulls out and he's at Columbia Pictures. He talks about he's working with like Sony Records, and we know that like he wants to make this truly transmedia product, this movie / game thing, which is exciting as all hell. Makes me wonder, are we getting like a definitive end to Metal Gear? No, probably not at all. But it would be cool. But also, I would love to see a Kojima now, their sort of spin within that style of game. And from a true transmedia perspective, that has me excited because we're going to get cool music in it. We're going to get great actors. And it's going to look fantastic. It's going to play fantastic. And the code name that we see as they zoom out of the Columbia lot it says Psyint, P-H-Y-S-I-N-T. How did this do it for you, Max? Did it make you feel things?
This is going to be a like a Black Mirror Bandersnatch thing, isn't it? It's going to be a fucking interactive movie.
Probably. Probably.
Look, I'm a Kojima fan. Whatever he does, I'll check out. Obviously, Metal Gear was great. Death Stranding 2 is now Death Stranding and Death Stranding 2 fantastic. It'll be interesting to see if this is a follow-on. I can't see that being the case. I also can't see this being used as like a competitor to Metal Gear Solid. I think for the most part, Konami realized that without Kojima, they can't do it.
Which makes me think about like the understanding that like they sat so close to each other, and for a company that like we know has a lot of personal animosity between each other, between Kojima and Konami as a collective, like that close proximity can't be not considered. But yeah, I like you, Max, says that it was one of those things where I enjoyed Metal Gear, I loved Metal Gear, and then when Death Stranding was on its way, I was like, I don't know whether I like Kojima. I've always considered myself a Kojima fan, or do I just like Metal Gear? And then playing Death Stranding, I'm like, no, I just really like fucking Kojima and his weird way of things. So I am beyond excited for this. I have a feeling this may be one of the first big PS6 games. It looks to be a long ways away, but it has me excited overall. Max, from what you did see, did you feel like this was a good state of play?
Yeah. Knowing that PlayStation first parties don't have a lot going on this year, it's unsurprising that what they've got is a lot of third party stuff or second party stuff. Like I said, just knowing, seeing Dragon's Dogma 2, which is like a month out now, seeing Death Stranding 2 with such a long, detailed trailer was amazing. Like that honestly would have been enough for me. And then obviously with them back ending the announcement of, hey, we know Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's coming out. We know it's a PlayStation exclusive. We're doing an entire state of play for that next week.
Yeah,
that's enough for me.
Yeah.
A lot of these, like I said, the only big thing, all of this stuff is coming, to my knowledge, from I think there was a few things that were with no release date. I think Judas was one of the main ones that didn't have a release date on it.
That's correct. Yeah.
The rest of them are all coming this year.
Yeah, or they've mentioned what year they're coming. Silent Hill 2 didn't get, it just went in development. And like my understanding is this game was should be coming out this year. So it just, they're not comfortable giving it a window yet for whatever reason.
So yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's been better than previous ones. It's not as great as some of their big bangers, but it is perfectly acceptable for a first state of play for the year.
I agree. It is one of those things where it did set up what the next year to 18 months looks like. Once again, not predominantly sitting within that PlayStation first party wheelhouse. However, if we look back, pretty much all of them have done something semi-recently enough that we're not going to see them for a little bit. And it's one of those things where part of me goes, where are they? But knowing that they're coming and there's some stuff here that's interesting. Like, I understand that the first party studios are what a lot of us look for because it's the reason we buy the consoles, right? It's essentially what we're looking for is validation that we've chosen this platform.
Yeah. So
that's why a lot of that pressure sits on those studios. And because beautifully they have demonstrated a trust in that it will be good, even if you may not resonate with it, like a Last of Us Part 2, you know it's going to look good, play good, and tick all those other boxes. So that's a big part of it, but there's some great second-party stuff in there. I felt the tone was a little odd in that it started kind of like Helldivers really punched it up with energy, and then Still Rising sort of began... Stellar Blade began this kind of like... decline in the middle as they really just got in the weeds and that weeby shit, and the VR2 stuff didn't really have an impact. But then at the back end, like that last 10-15 minutes, just like skyrocketed, which tends to be how PlayStation have been doing their showcases for as long as I can remember. And it is one of those circumstances where personally, the Death Stranding trailer alone and that little bit at the end is enough to weigh it up to be a really good showcase. Yep. But if you look at it objectively and how it feels and how it flows, you can't just have the last 15 minutes make everything amazing. That's not how it works. Yeah. But which in turn averages it out to a pretty good show. Like, there are things that are not there that don't interest me, and that's fine. You need to appease to a lot of people, and I'm very aware that a lot of people fucking like JRPGs. I may be the weird one here. And with it being a Japanese company, it makes sense. So they hit the beats, they know their audience, they give them what they want, but with enough generally sort of stuff to make everyone at least a little bit excited. Unlike previous, like even though we've never really sat there and gone, oh, I don't think that state of play was not needed. This once felt needed.
Yeah.
And then for them to then, as you mentioned, go, well, we're not going to... we would... If we did some Final Fantasy stuff here, we would lose about 15 minutes of the show, and you'd be shitty. So we're just going to do it next week. That I really appreciate. That was a big thumbs up. It's a pretty good show overall.
Quick bits?
Yeah.
Grounded Part 2, it's out.
Yeah! So we saw the trailer as part of Last of Us Part 2 remastered. It is out. It's about 2 hours long. I haven't watched it yet because I have a feeling it's going to be pretty intense. You've watched some of it, though?
I've seen articles about some parts of it.
Yeah, I've seen the interview with Laura Bailey about how her infant son was received death threats because of her portrayal of Abby. Fuck you, you horrible ass people. What the hell is wrong with you? The hell is wrong with you? They also talked about there was a potential moment where Last of Us Part 2 was going to be a Bloodborne style game. What the hell is wrong with you?
Oi. Calm down. Calm down.
So expand on that just quickly. Like, what?
So my understanding was it was originally going to be a melee only title. There were going to be no guns.
Weird.
And it was going to, you know how, I mean, you don't because you haven't played any of these games, but the way Bloodborne and Dark Souls and all these games work is you start in a very enclosed space and the world opens up around you as you explore the space and open up the shortcuts and open up different areas. It becomes one big open world. They were originally going to have the map designed like that as opposed to the more linear path that they took.
Which is interesting. That's like a polar opposite.
They tell a very linear fucking story.
Yeah.
And it would be weird if you could just be like, I'm gonna go over here now. Like, fuck this bit off. I'm just gonna go over here, do this bit now.
Yeah, this really like time pressing revenge tale doesn't really fit within that sort of delivery. So I'm glad they changed their mind.
But if they had left it as like dark Bloodborne style combat, melee only, but kept the story as it was and the map how it was, that would be fine. I'd be okay with that. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth has been named the series' fastest selling game with 1 million units sold since launch.
Shout out to Game Pass and PS Plus. That is 100% the reason for the Yakuza love, and well done. And of course, it's a fantastic game.
I wonder if that is the It's
legitimately the case. There are people that would never have touched it.
Yeah, for sure.
Had they not experienced it on those services, and we're in the same boat. If we didn't get that code the other day, we wouldn't have touched it.
New controller for Rock Band 4 and Fortnite Festival has been revealed.
Yes, it's the PDP Rockmaster. It looks like a bit of an old Stratocaster Jazzmaster. It's like a whole solid black with like a matte black with like a gloss black fucking guard thingy. It looks brilliant, and I want it. And I don't know whether it's coming here, but I want it.
Me too. Sony's own MLB The Show 24 will be a full price game once again on PlayStation, free on Games Pass.
Which is interesting because they still seem to make more money of it coming to PC. Coming to PlayStation, which is insane.
Ex-Call of Duty boss Joanna Faris is now Blizzard's top dog.
Shout out to her, I guess.
Following the shutdown of Volition by Embracer, they have formed a new team, Shapeshifter Games.
Okay.
I like Volition.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Shout
out. Final Fantasy Rebirth will require almost 150 gig of storage on the old SSD.
Holy shit. What happened? Wasn't there a part where, like, the new fucking fancy pants compression is going to make the games smaller?
Yeah.
Fuck happened to that?
Well, imagine how big it is on PlayStation 4. Oh, wait, you can't.
I can't. It's not there. And Buddy What's in the chat says disgusting, which is absolutely correct.
Almost bigger than Call of Duty.
It's fucking stupid.
And a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo is all but confirmed to be dropping at the end of the State of Play next week.
Also, as well, if for those that do check out other PlayStation podcasts, if you check out Sacred Symbols, Colin Moriarty's show, in this week's episode, he mentions that he has been provided information around what Fire Sprite is working on. There's mention that it's not a VR title in the last two things they've worked on, which was the Persistence and Horizon Call of the Mountain. This appears to not be a VR title. It's called, the currently name is Project Heartwarmer, and they mentioned some of the individuals that are on it, like the art designer, the art director used to work on used to work at Rockstar, and the writer used to write for Telltale during their peak years, like Walking Dead, the one that's based on Fables, and the Batman one, as examples.
So Werewolf by Night or whatever it was.
No,
Wolf Among Us.
Wolf Among Us. Thank you. So that's interesting. There was another individual there that they mentioned. It was like, it's an interesting set of people, and apparently it's a contemporary setting. And I'll go check it out. go check the show out if you want those more specific details. I don't want to sort of butcher the idea, but it's interesting to know that Fire Sprite, as a recently acquired studio, is doing something, which is pretty cool. All right, Max, these are the games that are coming out this week. You get Alyssa, Developer's Cut, Feb 6, which I was really glad about because the standard edit was a bit weird. So I'm glad they're doing more with Developer's Cut. Foam Stars, which is coming as a PS Plus exclusive on February 6th for a month, and then you'll be able to purchase it after the month if you needed to. Mixture, PSVR 2, coming February 6th, whatever that is. And then, of course, Helldivers 2 is coming to your PlayStation 5 and your PC on February 8th. Now, it's very likely Max and I will play Helldivers. Where we foaming boys, says Buddy Watson. I will download Foam Stars, even just for the shits and gigs of it. I will probably play it, hate it, or maybe even really enjoy it. But as someone that really, really did not enjoy Splatoon, it just couldn't get me. But I think the maybe like anthropomorphic squids didn't do it for me. But then again,
if you want to get one movie, don't lie.
Yeah, the same. But then again, the same thing goes here. Like the real anime art style gives me the ick, so I'm probably not gonna like it.
Gives me the ick.
It does give me the ick. Well, so I guess for you it's Foam Stars and Helldivers as well?
Yeah. I'm gonna get foamy with Buddy.
Nice. Very nice. If anyone wants to get Helldivery too, because we you can do squads of 4. Max and I can doing some co-oping. Anyone else is keen? Give it a bell, funsies. But I think that might be it. Long show this week, Max. This is the downside of playing a couple of really cool games and a state of play. We're back in business.
And having a kid wake up twice.
Yeah. And me having to fluff my way through talking WWE, which was really hard for me, by the way.
Yeah.
It was absolutely painful.
My 80,000 interaction tweet on not the content that I needed to be on.
Oh man, why couldn't any of my bullshit fucking PlayStation takes get ran? Instead, this bullbags tweet I made about Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania is suddenly just having a field day.
And wrestling people are way more.
Oh, and they're so vocal. And yeah, that's the best part. Everyone's like, yeah. I'm just being a big old sassy pants in the comments, responding with gifs, just being a prick and like fighting their words. And they're like, oh, I'm having a blast.
Told you, The Rock is fucking broke after the strikes. And
Black Adam did not do well. The strikes are affecting him. He's now a member of the board, and with all the Vince McMahon being a disgusting human being, at things that are happening right now, it's like, well, what if we just make Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania? People like The Rock. That's a good way to make a stack of money and change public perception. Or we make this clearly bad booking decision to make the internet wrestling community fucking fuming, so they'll forget, at least for a moment, about the Vince stuff. That is why they did it. Cody will take on Roman at WrestleMania. He's probably not going to. Either way. Max! Let's thank these other people for spending their time with us. Once again, we appreciate everyone that chooses to take time out of their week to listen to our fucking bullshit. But it is much, much appreciated. It is a joy that we still get to do this 300 and something episodes later. And that there are weirdly people out there that would love to hear about what we get up to in a week, but also our thoughts on games and just it's still amazing. It's still an absolute joy. So big thank you.
Yeah, very much so. All right, everybody. This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, you can come and check out our socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and X. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/PopCulturists. We can watch us record this show live. We can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening to this on your podcast service, sure he was a 5-star. 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch this on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And for any reason you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/PopCulturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com/shop, where you can buy shirts, other assorted shit with our logos on it. But Until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players. Insert witty thing we say at the end. Oh, Max.
You know it.